My name is Thomas, and I've always been fascinated by old, eerie places. So when I heard about the abandoned manor on the outskirts of town, I couldn't resist the urge to explore it. Little did I know that my curiosity would lead me down a path of terror that I could never escape. It was a cold, moonlit night when I decided to visit the manor. The place had an ominous aura, and the overgrown vegetation seemed to reach out like skeletal fingers, trying to pull me into its depths. I pushed aside the fear that gnawed at my insides and entered the creaky wooden gate. As I stepped onto the cracked stone path, I felt an inexplicable chill in the air. The wind whispered hauntingly through the trees, and I swear I heard distant cries carried on the breeze. Nevertheless, I pressed on, my heart pounding loudly in my chest. The manor loomed before me, its crumbling facade a testament to its dark history. The locals spoke of a curse that had plagued the place for centuries. Legend had it that the original owner, a wealthy nobleman, had dabbled in black magic and made a pact with the devil. As a consequence, his soul was eternally bound to the manor, seeking revenge on any trespassers. Brushing aside the superstitions, I entered the manor through the grand entrance. The interior was as eerie as the exterior, with cobwebs adorning every corner and ancient portraits hanging crookedly on the walls. The air was thick with an unsettling stillness, broken only by the sound of my own footsteps. As I explored deeper into the house, the sense of unease intensified. Strange shadows danced on the walls, and the temperature dropped drastically. Each step echoed through the empty halls, and it felt as though the house was alive, watching my every move. I found myself in what appeared to be a study, filled with dusty old books and peculiar artifacts. One book in particular caught my eye. Its leather cover was worn, and the title was written in an unknown language. Intrigued, I opened the book and began to read. The pages contained sinister rituals and incantations, and my heart raced with trepidation. I quickly closed the book, realizing that meddling with such dark forces could have dire consequences. But it was too late. The damage was done. As I tried to leave the study, I felt an invisible force pulling me back. Panic washed over me as the room seemed to distort and twist. The walls closed in, and the ceiling appeared to lower. I stumbled backward, only to find that the door had vanished. Trapped, I frantically searched for another way out. That's when I heard it, a haunting whisper that seemed to emanate from all around me. "You dare to disturb my resting place," the voice echoed, chilling my bones. "Now you shall suffer the consequences." Terrified, I pleaded for mercy, but my pleas fell on deaf ears. The curse had taken hold, and there was no escaping its malevolent grasp. The manor itself seemed to come alive, shifting and morphing in unnatural ways. Rooms twisted into maddening shapes, and corridors led me in circles. The walls bled and oozed an otherworldly substance. I felt a presence lurking in the darkness, watching me, taunting me. Shadows danced with sinister glee, and ghostly apparitions flickered in and out of existence. Time lost all meaning as I wandered through that haunted maze. Days blurred into nights, and sanity slipped through my fingers like sand. The curse toyed with my mind, showing me horrific visions of my deepest fears and regrets. In a desperate bid for survival, I tried to retrace my steps, but the house seemed to rearrange itself with every turn. I had become a mere plaything for the malevolent spirits that resided within the manor. My body weakened, and my spirit waned. I was on the verge of surrender when I stumbled upon the book once more. With trembling hands, I read through the pages, hoping to find a way to break the curse. Buried within the ancient text, I found a ritual, a chance for redemption. I gathered the required materials and followed the instructions, chanting the incantation with all my remaining strength. The room trembled, and a blinding light enveloped me. The curse fought back with all its might, but I persevered. The ground shook beneath me, and I felt an excruciating pain tearing through my soul. And then, darkness. When I awoke, I found myself lying outside the manor's gates. The sun was rising on the horizon, and the birds sang a hopeful melody. The manor stood tall and intimidating in the distance, but I knew that I was free from its malevolent clutches. To this day, I bear the scars of that fateful encounter, both physically and emotionally. The old manor's curse has left an indelible mark on my life, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurks in the shadows. But I share this cautionary tale with you, dear reader, so you may learn from my folly. Some secrets are best left buried, and some places are better left unexplored. For within the darkest corners of the world, there exist forces beyond our comprehension, and their consequences may be far more terrifying than we can ever imagine.